Well, hello, Tabernacle family. I want to talk to you about one of my favorite things, and that is the Tabernacle's evangelism and missions expenditures, but also just our heart to pray and to give and to go and all those different things. And so you're aware of Matthew chapter 28. It tells us that we are to go into all the world and make disciples of all nations, all ethnos, all different kinds of people all over the place. And Acts 1:8 says that when the Holy Spirit comes upon you, you'll be my witnesses first in Jerusalem. That's where they were. That's the place they started from, like we start in Danville. And to Judea and Samaria, that was their country, those next door that were a little bit different. And then to the very ends of the earth. And so I want to show you in 3 sections here some of what we do. Of course, we are in the eastern part of Danville as a church here. And we have all kinds of wonderful church ministries where we reach out and try to win people to Christ through our Sunday services, all of our student ministries and children's ministries, all of everything we do. We'd love to see people come to know Christ, and we have seen many, many come to Christ over the years. And then the Tabernacle winds up giving beyond what our church ministries are. We wind up giving this coming year, we'll give nearly $200,000 in budgeted monies to missions and missionaries and different things within our area, within the states of Virginia, North Carolina, within North America, and around the world. And when we take up our Christmas offering at the end of the year, it will go up to nearly $250,000. It was over that this past year, nearly $300,000 this past year in everything that we gave related to missions, and it's very exciting to be part of all that. So local missions we support. I'm going to put the MH for the Magnolia House right here that's down there. They do a great work reaching out to women that are experiencing a situation where they need to go somewhere for a while and get just re-going in life. We at our local elementary school do a Good News Club ministry, and our members do that, and it's so wonderful to see how they reach out in that. At the church, we bring in from the downtown area some kids to play basketball, the Hoop Don't Shoot ministry, and I've heard some great testimonies of kids that have been transformed through that ministry, and we get to house them here on Thursday nights in basketball ministry. I think about the great work that's done at God's Pick Crew in our city, and going to, in the city, they do like 60 food pantries are serviced by the food they have there, and most people know them as a relief organization, and they are. They go and build, and they go and after disasters, and they do such a great job with all that. I think about our wonderful commitment to the Transitions Pregnancy Help Center and all the great work they do, helping people in a crisis pregnancy and discipleship of those that need someone to come alongside them. I think about this year we're budgeting the Salvation Army because of the work that they do, reaching out to people that are having a little trouble and need some help, and we're referring people to them. And of course, we meet needs as a church as we can within our membership and those that you know. And of course, also somewhere down there, I'm going to put GNJ for Good News Jail Ministry. We have volunteers that go and witness in the prisons. It is just such a great thing, and we're so thankful for that. Well, you see that I've got that in the context of the state of Virginia, and we're on the border, of course, with North Carolina. And so here's some of the other things that we support. Now, the SBCV is our state group, Southern Baptist Conservatives of Virginia. And the Southern Baptist Conservatives of Virginia have about 800 churches. And in our partnership with them, there's been about 80 church plants that are currently in process of happening as part of the 800 churches overall. So that's a wonderful thing that we do. I also think about our historic connection with Liberty Baptist Fellowship that came out of Brother Falwell's great desire to see a connection of churches that would support chaplains and plant churches, and hundreds of churches get help and start because of the Liberty Baptist Fellowship. So we still have a historic partnership with them and budget them. And we think about also our Awana missionary, Wendy Shields, and the great work that she does supporting churches in the region that have the Awana Club. The same thing is true of our local Word of Life missionary, Michael Kilbride, and the great things that he is part of. I believe he's out of the Richmond area, but Noble Warriors is a great ministry supporting men's ministry around the state, and that man will come back and be with us even more as time goes along. Up in Harrisonburg, there's a great ministry called Equipping the Saints that sends things to all over the world, resources that pastors and missionaries need around the world, and Christians, they send them those things. He's also got the best Hispanic Christian bookstore, probably from New York to Miami there, and pastors from Hispanic persuasion are coming in all the time getting resources from him, and so thankful for the ministry there. We've taken on this year the Family Foundation, that I believe is also out of the capital, Richmond, and they do great work supporting the cause of pro-life and pro-family and pro-religious liberty, so thankful to have them as our partners. Some of us are going to go up there for the March of Life to Richmond, and we'll see those folks leading that meeting. Down here, where's Charlotte? Let's put Charlotte here, and at UNCC, we've got the Abernathys that are there, and they are doing student ministry there. I believe they work with international students also and just have a wonderful ministry, so that's happening there. Up in Greensboro, we got Teen Challenge that helps people, especially young men, all the way up to their 40s and 50s, get off of drugs, and it's a tremendous in-thing housing there that they do that is just really special. I think about in Reedsville, Mount Jubilee Special Ministries that our own Lizzie Stevens is part of, the program coordinator. Mount Jubilee also has other programs down to Winston-Salem. They're just doing a great job ministering to those with Down syndrome and other things like that. And then I think of the pregnancy support services over that really helps in the Durham Chapel Hill area, and that's where UNC Chapel Hill and where Duke is. And so thankful for all the things happening there as they too are trying to help people in a crisis pregnancy. And I'm so thankful for that ministry. So that's what's happening in our immediate Jerusalem and Judea, a little bit there, but Judea also for them, it was the whole country, and so we come over to North America here, and that makes me think again of what we accomplish as Southern Baptists and all the things that happen that way. And I'll tell you what, there are 32 areas of focus, 32, so I'm going to put NAM up here, that's North American Mission Board, that our cooperative program giving supports, as well as things that happen through the SBCV. And there are 32 send cities in North America. Now, the Southern Baptist Convention has a whole bunch of churches historically in the South. So most of these send cities are actually higher than that. I mean, we're talking about places like Vancouver. That's one of them. We're talking about Edmonton and Calgary. We're talking about where Toronto is, which I think is there. We're talking about Montreal. So 5 of those cities are in Canada, and they are church planting movements in each of those cities. We're talking about the great cities that are over here on the West Coast. And so we've got all those there. We're talking about places like Las Vegas. We're talking about Salt Lake City, that is one of the lowest percentage of evangelicals in the world, obviously, because of the Mormon Church being there. But we've got Salt Lake City as a place that we're reaching out in. You've got Phoenix, you've got Denver, and you come alongside, you got Kansas City, St. Louis. Do you think I know all these? I certainly do not. You come down here, you got New Orleans, my goodness. You got Atlanta up in the Georgia area. And then you come on up, and of course you're filling in the great cities here. DC, we have a special partnership with because we are in the Virginia, and so the Southern Baptist Conservative Virginia has a particular interest in DC and Montreal in partnerships, but you also get up to Baltimore, and then you get up to, we'll put this for New York City, we'll put this for Philadelphia, and we go further up for Boston, and you have just many, many more over here in the Midwest region, and the Twin Cities and things like that, and Puerto Rico. So you've got that. So the map really fills up with things that our cooperative program and giving gives to, and then we add in some of the things that we've added in as a church. So Daniel Ritchie is based out of, we'll put DR here for Daniel Ritchie. Daniel Ritchie is based out of Raleigh area now, and of course he is going to churches across the country, and we're developing a partnership with him even for the world that we'll talk more about the world when we get to India, where he's going to have a partnership thing done there. But the National Center for Life and Liberty is also out of D.C., and that is a national organization that helps us be concerned about pro-life and pro-religious liberty and pro-family causes and things like that. We this year have, let's see, where's Illinois? I think here, well, I'm just going to put this here and don't hold me to it, but Illinois Love Packages is a ministry that we're supporting, so that's another extra one that we do. And up here in Canada, we don't want to leave Manitoba out. Our friends, the Lytles, that are way up there in Norway House, Manitoba, and the great ministry they've got going on up there. When we talk about Southern Baptist things, we should also mention that sprinkled throughout the country are 6 seminaries that have 25,000 plus students in them. And if one of our students goes to one of our Southern Baptist seminaries or the colleges that are affiliated with them, tuition is half price because of the cooperative program giving we've already done all these years. If they turn into a NAM missionary, they'd get support that way as they plan. So NAM has 2,500 people that are involved in church planting. They have another 3,700 chaplains. And the chaplains are in prison ministry, they are in hospital ministry, they are in military ministry. And then there are 1,200 Baptist collegiate ministries affiliated with NAM across the country. And so even though we've got the Abernethys down there in Charlotte, we actually have 1,000 campuses we're on with these BCM missionaries who themselves are reaching students, which is really, really cool. So many good things going on. And there's other things like the Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission that helps us weigh in on social issues from a biblical perspective. They're out of Nashville, and so ERLC over here. And they also have offices in D.C. Guidestone, that helps ministers with retirement plans, is in Texas. And Guidestone last year gave $11 million of relief to 2,500 individuals, including 66% of those being widows of pastors. And so that has a place that's near and dear to my heart too. Okay, so now we go to the world. We go to the world and what happens because of all of our things there. Let's start again with saying what Southern Baptists already do and we support through the cooperative program. And so if you notice here, I've put the 1040 window that missionaries talk about because of the world's unreached people groups. Unreached is defined as less than 2% any kind of Christian. Many of them are in the 1040 window, and that includes North Africa, the Middle East, Asia and India, Southeast Asia as part of the India and China and all those things that are over there. And 80% of SBC, IMB, International Mission Board, Southern Baptist Convention missionaries are reaching out to unreached people groups, many of whom are in that 1040 window. And there are 3,600 missionaries that are doing that. And last year, they started 18,000 churches around the world, and that includes also places like Mexico, the entire world, but that is so cool that they're doing that. By the way, I didn't mention it, but NAMS, all those Send Cities, and all the other things that are going on, last year started 1,000 churches, which is pretty cool. So 80 started in Virginia, 1,000 in North America, 18,000 around the world through our Southern Baptist giving, which is great to do through the cooperative program. Now, also affecting the entire world, I'm going to put here Trans World Radio and our missionary Brandon and Laura Neal and all that they do, because Trans World Radio is beaming to places all over the planet the gospel, and they too get to many of the unreached people groups, and it's really, really cool that they do that. I'm also here going to put Nehemiah 7. Gary Reynolds within our church is the Nehemiah 7 missionary that we have, and that's his organization. And he, over the years, has gone around the world with many different fellow workers, and sometimes he's the leader, sometimes he's on with others that are leading, and all kinds of great things have happened. So it too is a worldwide ministry and has included work in North America, but truly blessing the world with building projects, pews and desks and whatever was needed, church buildings, etc. Just really grateful for it. Let me see if I can find India on the map here. So I need to come over to here. By the way, Anna Vogeltance did all these maps, so she copied them down for us, and I'm so thankful that she did. So if this is the Red Sea, so you come up over here, and I'm going to say that we're going to put the Friends of Israel right there along that land bridge, I think. And also, we have supported over the years the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. And so we are so thankful for our Jewish friends. Friends of Israel intentionally shares the gospel among them. International Fellowship, Christians and Jews, helps, no questions asked, just to meet the needs. And that, of course, adorns the gospel when it is shared. Down here, I'm going to put in West Africa, Training to Send, which is Joe Fleming's organization, and they are just seeing great things happen as they train pastors and workers to witness over here in the western part of Africa. Saruni, that we took on this year, that Gary Reynolds and Jerry Smith and others, David Thompson and myself went to, where the Girls Rescue Center is. We're going to hear from Mark and Tina Hagen this year as our missionaries there. Tremendous work in East Africa, so that is there on the map. Up here in Romania, where do you think Romania is? Well, let's just say here, Timothy and Sarah George are ministering to gypsies in Romania, and so thankful that they are. Coming back over here to Central America, Samuel Fong and his group that does things in Asia also are seeing quite a lot of work done in Central America. And so thankful for that being covered on our map. Remember, all these things are over this way because we already talked about them. So North America very much covered all the way up to Canada. And so I'll put the L there again for the Lytles. And then we have two different missionaries down in Brazil. And this one's Brazil, so we've got the Hatchers in Brazil and the Esquivals in Brazil. We've got the Bradys in Argentina, and we don't want to forget that we have Argentinians with us today that are making a difference for the gospel down there. Jason and Ike's of Lunsford, so L for Lunsford there. So we've got South America, Canada all the way down to South America, missionaries personally that we know that are there, and so thankful that we are. Over here in India, we've got Kumar that we've worked with for years through Treasure Pass, and excited to know them. In Southeast Asia, we also have the Carpenters that are medical missionaries, and so thankful that they are. In Indonesia, which is here, we're going to do Christ for the island world, and Indonesia is the world's largest Muslim country. And we've got missionaries there that we support. A group out of Greensboro we supported for years. Christ for the Island World supports native pastors as they share all the way through there. And so then we've got the Ambrosiuses in the Philippines. And they went to the Philippines. They won a people group to Christ. They gave them the New Testament, then the Old Testament. These days, they're in Alabama, and they beam in teachings all the time. They take trips back to there and are doing a tremendous work. They've won that people group to Christ. They're reaching out to others, and so thankful that they are. And then Emma Napier, her and her husband spent years in Australia. Emma is currently based out of Lynchburg, but she supervises distribution of funds to many Baptist churches throughout Australia, and Australia is a place that really needs revival and awakening, and so thankful that many different things are happening in Australia because of your giving as well. So we said there's 3,600 International Mission Board missionaries throughout the world also, with 18,000 churches. You put it all together, you have nearly $200,000 worth of support for missions in our budget. And this year, 2023, we went from 16% budgeted for missions to 18%, and when we take up the Christmas offering later in the year, we'll get up to nearly over $250,000 for the year that was given to missions things. And it is great to be making disciples here personally through the work we do in our communities. You invite somebody, they might get saved, and that's happening around the world through our partners. And so Acts 1:8 being fulfilled in our day. On the day of Pentecost, right after it talks about Acts 1, there's Acts 2. On the day of Pentecost, 3,000 people were saved. But they tell us that through missionary efforts now globally, 3,000 people are saved every hour around the world today. And you make it happen through praying. You make it happen through giving. You make it happen through going when opportunities arise, going across the street, going around the world. Let's keep doing it together, Tabernacle family. God bless you.